Let's talk about therapists having social media policies and consents. Y'all may have seen this article that came out this week. In the article, it states that patients are being asked to sign social media consent forms that allow therapists to use behind closed door revelations to inspire online content. And then this happened today without the consent of Kristen, not your average therapist, or Lior, the therapy gal. I want to make it very clear that that is not what a therapist having a social media policy or consent form is. This is from the American Psychological Association's Guidelines for Social Media Use for Psychologists. And as you can see, Guideline 2.2 explicitly states that psychologists are mindful of ethical and legal obligations to maintain client privacy and confidentiality at all times. So what is a therapist's social media policy or consent form then? It is a document to explain policies and procedures around social media guidelines implemented to protect both the client and the therapist. It may include things like boundaries about a client and a therapist not being friends on social media. It may include information about the lack of confidentiality on social media platforms. If the therapist has a public professional social media platform, the consent form would include information about the client's rights and responsibilities with regard to following that account. Here's an example of a social media consent form that I got off of Google. You can pause and read through it, but you can see the points made are that the client and therapist are not to perform online searches on one another about gathering personal information, talking about not requesting to be one another's friends, as well as if there's a professional social media site for the therapist. No ethical therapist would ever make a client sign a consent form to use their personal information as content.